Hello and welcome to Here We Go. It's me again, Scrivo. This week we are going to focus on my event I went to. I went to Darkfire Cafe in St Albans a couple of weeks back. So I'm just going to run through the list I took, how the list got on, how I got on with the list, and then the key learnings, because I think it's the sort of things where I was learning because playing the Orks is still quite new in the Codex, and kind of figuring out where things could go well and wrong and what things with hindsight I'd do differently, I think will be good to kind of express and teach to other people as well, hopefully. But yeah, right. So as you can see, it's the same list I took to ITT. So list submission was the weekend of ITT, and I was like, do I tweak it? I was looking, do I put Gazgul in? I was debating putting in more commandos. I was even debating putting in a couple of mech guns in just to give some shooting presence. I chose against that, because the way I saw it was I'd played 7 great games with this list. I had a good understanding of how the list operated, and I thought that way I'm just kind of building on that success. So to quickly run through it, Warboss in Mega Armor with the enhancement of Teleporter. So that gave him and a unit of 6 Meganobz with Kill Saws, Deep Strike. So I was every game rapid ingressing this when I was at ITT, same at this event. I then got a Warboss in Mega Armor with 5 Meganobz with twin Kill Saws. They're in a truck. That again, so twice. So giving that full pressure, maximising the amount of knobs I could have in the army. And then I got a Warboss with Power Claw with 20 boys. Very crucial because the Warboss gets the double war, which is helpful. And then a Warboss with 10 Power Claw knobs in a truck. So kind of a lighter version of what the Meganobz do, but they're alright, they're not a survivable, but still nice and snappy. Then we've got a Weird Boy, and we've got Boss Nicra. Both have got abilities that mean I can sort of relocate them. The Weird Boy, if I need to be defensively, if someone's say got a lot of indirect shooting, I can attach him to the Warboss's unit, so then that unit's on that teleports, but also protects him from, say, a cheap assassinate type of thing. Then we've got 2 units of Gretchen. Great for just sitting on your home objective, skulking on the side, kind of hidden behind one of the little L's, so you can get and investigate signals. Then 10 commandos with all the fancy pieces, so there's things like the distraction grot, the bomb squig, and all the different guns. I found that a lot of the guns are not that useful anymore. Like, it's nice to have things like a burner, but in most of the matchups I've been having, it's not bad, but it's not great. So, and then probably my favourite part of the list outside of the Meganobz is my 15 Storm Boys. So these guys move 12, can advance, fall back and charge. Super flexible. And with the way the game moves at the moment, that you need to be fast, infantry, perfect. Right, so first round, played a lovely guy called Rob. We'd been paired onto table 1, which I thought, oh great, it's all downhill from here. I'll start on table 1 and work my way down. So Rob's a nice guy. We played Dawn of War priority targets. What was interesting with this is he did things like he put his Von Ryan Leapers forward, made them a thing to kind of bait me, but then everything else, he kind of just stayed back and waited. And I went, okay. Because to me, I thought he was going to hit all the middle board, just kind of soak up, cover the board and the objectives so that I couldn't then step onto them easily. He didn't. Even though the Von Ryan's Leapers have got a fight first mechanic, charged into them, weathered the storm, and then he did things, it was quite odd. Like, there was one thing that I think really cost him one flank. On the left side, he had some Gene Stealers led by Broodlord. They went back into his big L, and it was very much like, okay, they just want to hide there, cool. They can stay there, I'll sit on the point and you do that, that's fine. And then the rest of my army kind of just pushed forward and picked up things like his gargoyles quite easily, because he tried to use them to screen, but they just die because they're gargoyles, right? And then a lot of his big beasties, I just used the reroll strat on them, and it was very consistent. Like the ability I could kill Nids quickly. He had the ability to get kind of feel no pains and stuff, but it didn't matter because of the amount I was throwing at him. I think the game could have been closer. If not, my primary could have been choked if he'd just stepped onto the objectives earlier. And I was going to kill him. He may as well have been on the points whilst dying. And that was a good start to the weekend. And I was very much kind of like, oh, cool, this is good. And he was a lovely guy. He is, if you ever meet Rob at an event, he's got a little book where he gets you to fill out the name of your warlord, where you played him, all these sorts of things. And he's got literally like every game recorded and what the result was. And it's really cool. The week after, he played a guy, Ed, who I do Cracking the Codex with, his friend Craig, and Craig messaged me and went, I was speaking very highly of you, and he showed him the page, and it was really cool, because it's like, that's the story, and it was really nice. So yeah, it's good fun. And he's got an Instagram, so it's nice to see all the pictures he's put up of the game as well. So, and then on to round 2, I played into James. So I hadn't played Eldari for probably at least a couple of nerfs. So I was still a little bit worried, because they just have an ability to just do what they want to some extent with their miracle dice, with their destiny dice type of thing. But this was an interesting one. It was search and destroy, take and hold. He shoved his avatar Cain right down my throat, and he stuck around for a bit longer than I would have liked. There was a lot of times where this was a game where I never liked to bemoan dice, but James had a really rough game where just, even though he could kind of modify his dice to some extent, they were just really undercooking. And fair play to James, he kept his edge. He wasn't too salty. If you know what it's like, you can tell someone's disappointed because it is frustrating, but he kept his nerve, and it was nice. I think if his dice had been a little bit like even just average, the game could have swung a bit more in his favour. But the problem was, anything he tried to do just felt like an uphill struggle. And things like the avatar really helped for him, because like me hitting him with AP3 damage 2 weapons into the avatar, it just meant I had to put 2 units into him in the end, and it was frustrating because I couldn't quite kill him quick enough. But it was okay in the end. End up with a 98-66, which was interesting. And this one I went first again, so it gave me that kind of the ability to kind of stage myself and pressure. And then I didn't think he would go forward, thinking it's like, I thought he might kind of be a bit more kind of apprehensive, but he did throw stuff forward. Like he had some Howling Banshees he'd thrown forward, and they were surprisingly choppy. So it was an interesting game in that respect, and fair play to the guy. And we then had the last round where, again, table 1. I was terrified. At this point, I was one of about, I think it was 5 or 6 people that could be in to win it. Kind of sort of around just to my side with James Marsden, bringing a really scary Necrons list. He'd played round 1 into Clement, who had brought Space Wolves Gladius, which terrified me because I looked at the list and went, it does everything I want a Space Marine list to do, and luckily dodged him. For the last round, I went into Jason. So Jason's quite a special player in this respect. So he is a big hobby hero. So he had painted all of his knights in their own heraldry, all hand-painted fleur-de-lis on them. If they'd done something epic in a game previously, he'd named them. And that was super cool. So his army was Canis Rex, and then I think it was 6 Helverins and 4 Warglaves. It was very much, okay, this looks alright. I think I'm okay. But the problem here, Crucible of Battle and Purge the Foe. So I already knew Purge the Foe was going to be a challenge. Probably didn't appreciate how much of a distraction Canis Rex could be. Because obviously Canis Rex actually doesn't count as destroyed if you haven't killed the little dude as well. So getting rid of him was all well and good. But the big thing that I really struggled with in this game was hold 1, hold more, kill 1, kill more. And I wasn't getting the kills quick enough. I think distracting myself with Canis Rex, which I did win that side, but by that point, he was picking up other units. So I think what I should have done is go elsewhere. And the big piece of tech I was missing in this matchup was Canis Rex. I charged in, didn't quite kill him. He swung back, did a lot to that one unit. I was like, cool, they're now half size. The next unit that I'd rapid ingressed came in and finished him off the next turn. But the problem is, he had the CP to fight on death. That then meant he rolled very hot. He had 5 attacks with his 9 damage strike. It then translated because he crits on 5s. They then exploded. So then he's got 10 attacks, successfully wounds. I don't make any saves. And then I'm there rolling 9 damage, feel no pains. And I did shrug one of them. I managed to stop one of them. But 10 of them into 6 Meganobz, led by a war boss, wipe the unit. Pretty bang on. That was nasty. So appreciating that made me go, right, I should have things like for Orks, the big gob. So there's the enhancement that means you finish your charge, a unit has to take a battle shock test at a -1. It wouldn't have fixed it, but that really could have kind of swung that then. There's no fight on death then. There's no defensive strats. And I think that really could have helped. And now I'm looking at that in a lot of my lists in kind of how to prevent counterplay by kind of building it into my list. So this was a very close game. What really let me down was my primary. If we'd played another mission that wasn't reliant on killing, I think it would have been very close and maybe swung in my favour as long as I hadn't had to prioritise Canis Rex. And it was a fantastic game. Lovely chap. Voted for him for Best Painted. He won it. It was very cool. He won the event overall. Losing even with the close loss that I got because it was 98-75. It then pushed me down to 4th. Pretty happy with that. It was kind of a little bit like, oh, so close but so far. But there is a success to this. So just behind me now, guys, just out of camera, I got Best Sports. So I was really pleased with that because to me, if you're not going to win a podium and you're not getting the wooden spoon and you're not getting a painted, there is Best Sports is kind of, it's like scoring so highly and winning 2 games very highly and people still voted for me was a lovely feeling because to me the hardest thing is to do well and to score high and then get people to give you their sports vote, because especially if it's been a drubbing, which neither of my games particularly felt really like that. I think that the Nids game was unfortunate because he made some tactical choices early on that then cost him, but it was very nice to be rewarded with. I was playing in a clean way. I was trying to make it enjoyable for both of us. I was trying not to moan at my own dice because I sometimes get a bit kind of fixated on, oh, look, there's another 6-inch charge I failed. And I tried to avoid that. And I think it's panning out. And I went into the weekend that day with no expectation of how I was going to do it. I was like, just want to play 3 games with this list. Just want to progress with it. Use all the learning I've kind of picked up from kind of recent tournaments and events and kind of practice games, because I'm trying to just improve my play, and that's the important thing. And going into it without the expectation, I didn't want to do badly, but I had, outside of that, no expectations, which sometimes is good. So yeah, so big learning for me was primary challenges. So purge the foe. If I'd given myself 2 minutes just to think about that, like if I'm not going to be able to kill more, don't give him the opportunity to kill more as well. So the knights, because the way we were playing, because it was sort of longboards kind of deployments, so it was kind of a bit more of a stretch. It was kind of, we were on the short edges. It would have taken him longer to position some of his Helverins and stuff to get shots. If I just positioned, like if I wasn't going to score or I wasn't going to hold, just don't put stuff on a point, hide it in the ruins. And I think that's what I'd do next time. Like I touched on, things like Big Gob, putting that Battle Shock ability into a unit, especially if it's going to be charging something, charge it, stop it. So the Big Gob, Dante's got it as an aura, having Whirlwinds shoot stuff in Space Marines. It's all these kind of cool tech pieces that I think I've always enjoyed having them, but they always felt kind of like, oh, that's cute. But now I'm seeing really the value to it. The other big one is, in these 3 games, I don't think I utilised sticky objectives as much as I could have. In the first game I did. I think I had 2 of them stickied for most of the game, but in the other ones I didn't, and it should have helped. I should have been able to pressure and kind of hold back. I think with the Eldar he was a bit too free in where he could be, so it didn't quite pan out. And too often I got tempted into like teleport the weird boy so you can cleanse a middle objective early game, just giving it away, and I didn't need to. So sometimes it's like if it's not scoring me the primary the next turn on it as well, those 2 points probably wasn't worth it. So I need to be more thinking about, yes, I'm scoring now, but would that score me more later, especially with other cards that I might have available? Obviously, the mission pack's about to change, but having that flexibility still in my list later in the game, probably more beneficial. But yeah, so as you can see, very exciting. Probably the last couple of games I'm playing as Orks before the balanced data slate, the new chapter approved Prime Exis mission pack. So what I'm going to do is when the balanced data slate lands in the next week or two, maybe, hopefully, I think it's going to be close to when the pack drops, hopefully. When it does, I'll do a video of Here We Go, going through all the changes for Orks, how I think a lot of the mission stuff will affect us as well, because there's nothing worse than kind of going into and going, all these good practices I've learned, how do they translate? And it could be quite simple. So I've been looking at the pack already, trying to understand what I can get out of it in my lists, and I want to share that with you guys as well. So as per usual, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you've really enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button below. If you don't subscribe to 6++, if you give us a subscribe, it really helps us. And if you really enjoy the channel and the content we put out, it's a labour of love at the moment, but obviously if you can give us a YouTube membership, you can get stuff early. We put up special exclusive members only content, and some of our stuff's timed early as well, so some of the episodes will turn up sort of 3-4 days early. And if you really like us, if you go to the chapter master level on YouTube, you can get some coaching as well. Until next time, guys, wow.